Kerrin McAvoy in the Everest. You've got Jetterbill for Brad Widdop. You've been on the horse throughout this campaign. Good run last start, which convinced the slot holders to run.
Yeah, it was a good run, and I think he's going to be even better again this weekend. Brad's just tailored his campaign to be spot on for Everest Day, so he's got a few lengths to make up, so he's going to need to be at his best, no doubt. But his horse enjoys Randwick. He'll enjoy a fast tempo, which I think we should get on Saturday. And I'm pleased to think that he can improve off of his last run.
How can you use your immense experience, not just generally, but particularly in this race where you've been very successful, to make sure that horse gets its best possible result? Yeah,
I think just staying cool, calm and collected on the day. It's obviously a big event. It's important to get your horse in its rhythm and in its comfort zone. And Jetterbill's always sort of a midfield to back type of horse, and he can finish, when he's cuddled up, he can finish very well with a nice last 300 metres. So important to stay focused and be ready for anything that the race throws at you.
Good ride in the Kosciuszko, Litsamania for Todd Payne, barrier 14, but he does get back. And you rode him in that Newcastle barrier trial. What sort of feel did you get there?
Yeah, he gave me a nice feel. That was a few weeks ago. Todd's been happy with him, and he's a horse that's run well in a provincial championship before. Sorry, a country championship. He was placed in one of those at Randwick, so we know that he enjoys the big spacious track there at Randwick, and I really feel if he can overcome that outside gate, he's going to be a nice each-way chance.
Joe Gerard de Board for the Mars stable, heavily represented in the Everest with some good chances tempted. Barrier 1, Craig Williams. What does the barrier mean?
Soft barrier is always a big positive, especially a horse like her. She switches off, she's good out of the gates, so she'll be able to get into a nice position without having to do any work, and after she'll be able to get into a rhythm, just drop the bridle and then save a good turn of foot. So yeah, she'll get every chance. The only thing with barrier 1, you always need a bit of luck, need the gaps at the right time, but I think she's couldn't be going any better. Obviously, last start, after a very good first up run, going back 2 weeks, might have been a little bit soon, especially over 1400. But an extra week in between runs, back to 1200, there should be genuine speed. Everything should suit her.
That's her sweet spot, 1200, 3 of her 4 career wins over that distance.
Yeah, I think it is. She's got plenty of speed, and she relaxes very well. So over that kind of trip, she's able to travel and use the ton of foot she has. And she likes Randwick, so yeah, looking forward to it.
Jimmy Starr, just the absolute professional, a real racehorse with 9 wins, 6 placings from those 20 starts, and a great run last start behind Briasa.
Yeah, we could not be happier with him leading into a run. Obviously, it's been a plan for a while now. We started the prep with trying to get him picking for Everest Day, and I think that's the case. His first up run was good. Second up, I think when you see a section where he was able to run, horse couldn't be going any better. I think that was the quickest last 600 he's ever run, and he's come on against it. So until the barrier draw, we're very, very confident with him. Obviously, barrier 11 makes it a little bit harder, but the horse could not be going any better.
Where would you like him ideally in a run? Is the aim to at least get in front of a few of them?
Yeah, ideally, but if you do that, you have to be wide. So obviously, you have to make compromise there, but to win it, even though there's a lot of speed on paper, it's hard to win from the back. So if it could be a pair or two closer, that would definitely help.
The King Charles is going to be massive as well, and Pride of Jenny brings a lot of that appeal to the race. How is the horse?
She's very well. She's still in Melbourne. She's travelling up tonight. She'll be here tomorrow, but obviously she was very good at Moonee Valley. Just kept running, so she's come back in great form. Kieran thought she had a bit of improvement to come out of that run, so she'll be again rock hard fit for that second up run. She likes Randwick. She ran very well in that race last year, and yeah, she rolled forward as she always does, and she'll be there for a long way.
We've seen her in front by massive distances, and we've seen it a bit more considered, where she might stretch out to 3 or 4 in front, pull back a little bit. Seems to be the way she likes it lately.
Yeah, she's obviously matured. Deck Bates knows her very well, and he's just guided by how she's going in the run. So he goes out there without a firm plan. He knows she leads, and then you just judge, see how much she relaxes in the run, and how far ahead he is compared to the rest. But I think she's very well. So yeah, exciting day.
Molly Burke, tough to get a ride on Everest Day, but you've got one in the Yank Stakes. Asgarda, winner of the Country Championships final when it was trained by Doug Gull, now with John Sargent, and you've done plenty with the horse.
Yeah, look, I know the horse very well. I've been with her. I used to be apprentice down with Doug when he had her. I broke her maiden on her a year or so, 2 years ago, and she's come out to do big things with Doug since then, and she just probably wasn't handling the travelling because she was a bit out benchmark for the country area, so they decided to base her up here so she didn't have to travel so far for her races. And look, she's been going super since we've had her up here. She's run some good races so far. We've only had her for 2 runs, and she's run some very handy races. And look, it'll be a test again on Saturday, her first time over the mile. I've always believed she will get the mile, so I don't think that's going to be her worry. She's got a bit of an awkward gait, is probably our worry on the day, but look, she's going really well at home.
How do you negotiate that barrier 12?
Look, it's a good run down the back straight there, so we have plenty of time to see how the race unfolds. The more I look into it, I'll hope to see a bit of pace on paper, because I think she is better off with a bum in front of her, so she can just sit in behind the speed somewhere.
Ash Morgan, you gave a great push for Hidden Motive last week when we spoke to you, which won at double-figure odds. Don't know what you think this week, but in the Kosciuszko Say Your Pence for Matt Dale, barrier 10, you're very familiar with the horse. Last horse into the Kosciuszko, hopefully first home.
Yeah, that's right. Look, she's a mare I really like. I won a nice race on there on the Wagga Carnival, and she won it really well. I thought her first up run this time back in at Canterbury was really good. Look, obviously it's a very high class field, but she's a mare that's trending the right way. I would love a little bit of a better barrier for her, but she's adaptable to where you can ride her, and I think she's in really good form, so she'll outrun her odds anyway.
What do you think of the chances of Iona Merck in the Sydney Stakes for Björn Baker?
Yeah, look, he's been a good horse to me. I rode my first stakes winner in Australia on him, and he's a cool horse. He's run a nice gate. I think at his best he can run a good race. Obviously, it's a very competitive race for the money, but he's a horse that always goes out and always runs a massive race.
Speaking of Björn, they don't call him last race Björn for nothing. And in the 10th, the Whirlpool Handicap, he's got Hollywood Hero. Barrier 14 makes it tough. Hasn't got a great first up record, but you can tell us if that means a lot.
Yeah, well, I think he's a horse that towards the end of last prep was really coming into his own. He's a lot better. He's hitting the line a lot better. We just figured out a way to ride him. It was dead cold and let him pick his way through the field. And his first up record isn't great. You're right, 49 is probably short of his best. And whenever I'm on him, I never draw a gate. But I loved his trial here the other day. I thought he was very good. And obviously it's a lead into the little dance. But I can see him with speed on. I can see him on a good race.
Zach Lloyd coming off a big week at Rosehill last weekend. Gallant Star in the Kosciuszko for Brett Robb out of barrier 3. It's first up because they've got to keep it fresh. First time on board for you as well.
Yeah, he's a lovely horse. I'm very happy they've kept him first up. Lovely draw. I think a draw is very valuable in that race. It's obviously a very high pressured race, and he's got good speed. Put himself in the first 4 or so. He looks like a pleasure to ride. So hopefully he can go well.
If they can finally get a win in one of those big races for the country horses. I believe you're a cricket fan. It's half owned by Kerry O'Keefe, who's obviously massive in cricket commentary. Yeah. You'll be putting the hard word on him for some Ashes tickets if you get the cash, won't you?
Oh, 100%. No, I'm a big cricket fan. Played a lot of it when I was younger, and obviously you hear him on TV, so it'd be good to finally meet him in person. And if we win, it's a nice check to him, so I'll be looking for a bit of return favour.
Opportunities elsewhere on the day in the Yank Stakes. Idle Flyer for Matt Smith coming out of 15, which makes it difficult, but you've won on the horse, you know the horse.
Yeah, I think we're about 4 for 4, I think, myself and Idle Flyer, so we get along well. She's a very nice filly, very progressive. She deserves stakes on her resume, stakes grade on her resume, because she is a very good horse, and the barrier's a bit of a tricky task, but she's learned to make herself very tractable going forward, going back, so we'll have a assess of the race. Myself and Matt will go through what the best option is, but if she gets a bit of luck, I'm sure she'll be right on the finish.
And in the Silver Eagle, it's Linebacker, winner of the most famous barrier trial in racing history, where Kaying Rising ran third. It was impressive, though.
Yeah, he's going really well. He had a little setback, but he's returned really nicely. His work has been faultless. So he's still building to his peak. He's probably just below peak fitness, but he's a far classier horse than the rest of the field. His barrier's a bit tricky. But I have a lot of confidence in that horse that he could still get the job done no matter what, because I do think he has a bit on those. But whatever he does on Saturday, he's going to improve into the Golden Eagle, which is his main race.
Tommy Berry in the Kosciuszko, you got Boston Rocks from Matt Dale from barrier 1. I guess if it jumps well, you got options.
Yeah, definitely. He was really good last start, running third, and was wide but was strong through the line. And Matty said he still had sort of 20% improvement left, and that's going to bode well from a very good alley, as you said. So he's going to be a great chance in that.
In the Sydney Stakes Caballos for Björn Baker, wider this time, barrier 14, 8th of 18 in this race last year, and it's first up from a spell.
Yeah, I think he's going better this preparation, and Jason Collett just gave me a really good push for him in the jockeys room there. Said he trialled really well, and obviously I don't know a lot about him, but I'll tell you what, when Bjorn's horses draw wide, you don't have to worry too much. He always has a plan, and they seem to run pretty well, even when they don't draw well.
Plenty of other runners for you on the day in the Reginald Allen Quality Panova for Chris Waller. Barrier 11 again, so a little bit of work.
Yeah, she gets back anyway, and she'll be looking forward to stepping up in distance and hopefully with a little bit more pressure. On the other day when she ran second, it was a bit of a sort of a sit and sprint there at Kensington. I think she'll enjoy getting to Randwick, a nice big track, at a distance that's getting closer to what she wants. I feel like she'll run a mile to 2,000. So, yeah, she's an exciting horse going forward. If Saturday's not a day, then I wouldn't drop off her.
I know you're keen on this one. More felons again for C. Waller in the St. Ledger.
Yeah, he drew the car park in the Metrop, so we had to ride him quiet, and he picked his way through the field and finished off really strong late. So he feels like he's ready for a peak performance. The 2600 is going to suit him well, and drawn a great alley. So there's a lot of ticks there for him.
Harlem Queen's a horse with ability from the Nathan Doyle stable, but what about the Silver Eagle at this stage?
Yeah, obviously it's only first up for her. She's trialled really good on a couple of occasions now. She's drawn well and gets in with a good weight of 54. So, look, got horses there that have got a bit more fitness on their side than her. She's in for a long preparation, so Saturday will only be a starting off point for her, but she's better than what her price suggests.
Josh Parr, you've seen the barrier draw for the Everest. Overpass out of barrier 9, Marzu, way in near the rails in 2. How do you think it might play out?
Yeah, it's going to be a fast race. So I think we'll get a good track, nice firm ground, and obviously we're dealing with very fast horses. I guess what I can say from my point of view is Overpass has got very good barrier speed. He's shown that he's got really good speed, and we're quite willing to let him go a strong gallop too. So I'm not too concerned. The fact that there's other speed horses there, they're going to have to match his speed early.
That's what we're looking at. As you expect to be in the top 3.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, it'd be an unusual circumstance for him not to be in that position. We can confidently look at it as him taking up his usual role in front or somewhere close to it. And if we are in front, it'll be a nice strong gallop.
Pericles is a very interesting ride in the King Charles out of barrier 5. Won the Tramway, 3rd in the Epsom. He's right up to this race.
He's in great form. His win first up was great. His run in the Epsom was really good behind Autumn Glow. He was given 57 kilos in the Epsom, and I believed going into it was a little bit too much, and it probably played out that way too. So he won't lose any admirers from that run. He certainly hasn't lost my respect, and going to this Saturday, he's in great order.
Tim Clark in the Everest War Machine for the Hayes brothers. It's been a great horse for them. 4 starts, 4 wins.
Yeah, he's really rapidly rising through the ranks. Obviously had the opportunity to ride him in Brisbane in the Stradbroke, which he won. And he returned well at Flemington down the straight in the Gilgai with the top weight. So looks like he's a horse on the improve. She needs to obviously go to a new level again on Saturday, but I feel that he can definitely mix it with these horses. Runs
a strong 1400, which is great for the Randwick 1200.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like there's going to be good tempo looking at it. So he's going to be strong at the back end of his race. He's drawn a nice gate, so hopefully we can take advantage of that, put him into a nice position, and feel that he's, as I said, he's the horse on the rise, and definitely looking forward to getting back on him.
You're on easily the best performed Kosciuszko horse in the history of the race. Front page, 2 wins and a second. Barrier 6, you've ridden him twice. You know where he likes to be.
Yeah, he's a great old horse, isn't he? And he's got his pattern. Obviously, Matty knows him really well now. He targets this race first up with him. Said he's got a great record in it. And obviously I've come to the party a bit late getting on him, but the 2 rides I've had on him, he's ran extremely well both times. And another one I'm looking forward to obviously getting back on Saturday. It looks a great race for him. And his recent trial, although I wasn't on him, looked nice and sharp. So, said he's sparingly raced, although he's getting on in years. He hasn't been overtaxed, and he still looks as though he's got that zest for racing.
And in the King Charles Royal Patronage, if he's going to win for you, probably got to find its very best form.
Yeah, look, it's going to be obviously an interesting race. Obviously, whenever Pride of Jenny turns up, you need a rock hard fit horse, and the race is obviously generally pretty exciting to her style. But look, although disappointing on paper first up 4 weeks ago, I think he had some excuses there. I think that he's made nice improvement from that run. He had a nice exhibition gallop between races last week. I thought he worked, up there with probably his best work all preparation. So I think he's back on track. He just probably needed a run to get him back into the game after going to Hong Kong and being an older entire. That run and just the day at the races last week and everything seems to have really brought him on. He seems back to his best.
I'm happy with the horse first and foremost, and he's a horse that goes forward. He's got natural speed, he's quick out of the gates. I think he'll be able to do that in the big race on Saturday, and he's a fast horse, so I wasn't too worried about the gates. I think it won't make too much of a difference for him. Whether he leads or sits second, will be comfortable either way. He's fit. He's very good first up, so I think that's the key, and that's one thing that we have learned over time, that his best record is after a break at 1200 on a pretty good surface, which we look to get on Saturday. So I think from that point of view, we can definitely argue a case. I think he's way over the odds. I'm very happy with him. He had a good gallop yesterday, and he's bucking his brands off today. That gives us a bit of confidence that he's spot on for Saturday. Josh knows him very well, will be positive. I'll tell him to go straight to the front and increase his lead, but maybe not quite like that. But he'll be able to utilise that natural speed. He's always good out of the gates and should be able to put himself there. When you look at two form races, this day last year, Everest Day, he won the Sydney Stakes in a quicker time than the Everest, and of course was first up in the TJ Smith, which is arguably maybe the second best sprint race after the Everest. Same trip, same distance, same track. He's got one big thing on his side, Ka Ying Rising, that's the NZ suffix, so he's a Kiwi expat now, Hong Kong. But Australian horses are very fast. I think they're going to be awfully hard to beat, and Aussie come Everest Saturday. Yeah, Ka Ying Rising, you can't knock what he's done. He's rated the world's best racehorse for a reason. He's run super times. He has a great win record, and he's taken all before him. So you have to respect him immensely. He adds so much to the race. It's great to have him here, and really, it's going to be a race sort of watch the world over, especially with a huge piece of interest from Hong Kong. So it's exciting to have him here. Will I be backing him? No, I'll be backing Overpass each way. Always happy to spoil the party, and you've got to aim up and you've got to back yourself. You've got to believe that you can do it, and I think I've got a horse that we know performs well fresh up at the trip on a good track, and I'm confident he can run well. I hope he does run well, and I hope for Hong Kong he runs well. He's a super horse. You'd love him to run up to his best, and this is going to be the world's best sprint race, no doubt about it. I think it's a very, very strong field. Everywhere you look, there's chances, and you've got to respect your competitors immensely. So it's going to be a very, very tough race for all horses, and I think most trainers like me will just be focusing on having their horses as well as they can have them and ready to go. Yeah, and it's the closest thing I get to royalty at Warwick Farm than King Charles III. I'm looking at the trophy, and I'm confident I've got two really good chances. I've got a progressive filly for Derby Racing called Within the Law. She ran a good second at the trip 2 weeks ago. I think she's well set up. She's got a good gait, and with the weight for age condition, she gets in with no weight. So she's going to be very interesting. And Pericles was very good in the Epsom handicap 2 weeks ago at a mile. Same trip as well. He ran a good third. I think weight for age suits. He's got a good gait. And he's in great order, so he's ready to peak third up. I think both of those horses are good chances, and I just hope they run up to their best. I get excited for every race day. I'm very lucky to love what I do and be involved with a great animal, and a race like Saturday, Everest Day, yeah, I get a little antsy, and I'll probably get antsy. I'm sort of looking forward to it, excited, a touch nervous. There's a lot riding on it. It's, of course, Sydney's big race day now. It's the biggest race day in the country and watched worldwide. So you definitely want to compete. You want to get a winner. You want your horses to run absolutely up to their best. So it's going to be a great day, win, lose or draw for the stable, but it's just great to be involved, and I'd love to be very competitive. Yeah, it's interesting. Within the law, she was a very good 2-year-old. She's tough. She's got a good attitude. She's sound, and she looks absolutely fantastic at the moment. Scott Darby from Derby Racing is always keen to try different things, and it's something that hasn't been tried in recent times anyway. 3-year-old filly up against the older horses. It also works out with timing. So she was a good second in the Flight Stakes, which is a relatively slowly run race. Looks to be a truly run race on Saturday. And then we have the option whether we go down to Melbourne 2 weeks later or back her up a week later in the Spring Champion. We know she's performed well off a backup previously. I think she's in great order, and she's very, very genuine. So it's a tough ask, but you've got to be in to win. It's been an amazing race. It's come so far in such a short time. It's very special having runners. I think it's rated the world's best sprint race on turf. So it's very exciting. It's what Sydney racing's about in Australian racing. Fast horses. That's what I love to be involved with. And I would love to get... I used to be superstitious, but I touched it last night. It hasn't worked the previous 2 times, so maybe third time lucky for Overpass. Yeah, Rachel can ride 48, and she's going to be strong at the 48 kilos within the law. So she's one rider that doesn't have to waste. She's comfortable at 48 kilos. So from that point of view, she was the logical choice. She's ridden a lot of big winners for the stable, including Derby Racing and Osmosis too, when she won the Coolmore on him. So she rode her on Tuesday morning. She was very happy. He's a very well-performed horse, Pericles. I was lucky enough to get a ready-made horse off Godolphin, and he's been very straightforward. So he was very good in the tramway when he won first up. I thought he was excellent in the Epsom handicap. He had 4 weeks between runs. I think with the 2 weeks now into the King Charles, he's perfectly set up. He's got a great gait. He should be able to put himself probably midfield where he's comfortable. And he is a very fast horse that we've seen in training. So I still think he's underrated. He's a horse that's won in excess of $5 million. And from what we've seen at home, I'm hoping his best is to come on Saturday.
I'd say he'll be leading. He's very fast, Marzu. He's come back particularly quick this preparation, and I think we see from prep to prep horses have different sort of gait speed. At this stage, he's going about as quick as he ever has in his life, so we'll be taking control from that barrier. I'm hoping for some rain on Friday night for the majority of my runners, and there's a massive drop in the heat from Friday to Saturday, and quite often that does mean some storm activity, so I'm cheering for that. I know he's a superstar, there's no doubt about that, but we're not going into his backyard to race him, and I think that's the obvious thing. A lot has been said about his fitness. I don't think it's got anything to do with that. I think it's a matter of whether he's travelled over and acclimatised, travelled a lot of horses over the years, and it's not an easy thing to do, and that's his battle. I think if the Ka Ying Rising that we watch in Sha Tin turns up, there'll be no betting. He's the best sprinter at the moment, so he's the measuring stick, but he's done it all in one place, and that's the challenge of this race for David Hayes. And look, it's intriguing to have him here. I think he's a great addition to the race this year, and he just makes it so much more interesting. Look, a no-brainer. To be involved in a race like it's a bit like knocking back a spot in a Melbourne Cup to run in the Geelong Cup. I mean, it's the elite. Sprinters against each other. You always want to be in that competition, and it wasn't a decision that I made. It was a decision made by the ownership group, and they were more than happy to give him another go at it. It's absolutely what it's all about. These weeks like this are what get you out of bed in the morning and give you the motivation. And you're never running tired on a week like this. Next week I'll be flat as a tack, but sort of into this week it's just adrenaline pumping. The whole team's excited. We've got a good team going to the races, eight runners. So I only worked 56 horses this morning to have 8 of them there on Saturday, representing my smallish stable, medium-sized stable. We're very proud. I'm going to give you a really dull answer here because the year I won it was absolute relief, and I thought I was going to win, and I did. So when you're in that situation, it's never as exciting than an unexpected win. But in post-race, it really started to sink in what we'd achieved, and it's a very rich race, but it's also got so much attention now from so many different places that it's become the focus of the nation, and racing doesn't often make it outside of just the average racing crowd. He's going to get a high-pressure race, which is really going to suit him. He's probably the main one I've got in mind when I'm asking for what I'd like a Storm, because last year when he won it, he won on a 5, and I think he's crying out for a track with a little bit of give in it. Hopefully he gets that. He gets the addition of blinkers for the first time in his life, which I think are a really important gear change for him. He's in fantastic order. I'm really happy with him. He's had the foundation to be fit enough to run out a really strong high-pressure mile, and if there's any give in that track, he'll be in the finish. I've been thinking about them a lot this preparation. I'm convinced they're going to improve him, but as I say, that last added little thing of getting him on a track with the give in it would be. I think he would go from being double half the price he is if he gets on a track with the give in it. So very happy with the horse. He's continued to do really well. He'll parade in fantastic order on Saturday. Looks magnificent, and he's a top class racehorse. He just needs things to go his way, and I'm sure he'll run well. And I think it's probably a hindrance for a couple of the others. I think in the past we've seen Pride of Jenny upset Mr Brightside and Fangirl, their racing patterns. I don't think they like that high pressure racing. They're very good when they get to control races, and and that doesn't mean they're in front, but control races with a sedate tempo and then sprint home because they've got electric turn of foot. But the way Pride of Jenny does things, she takes their sprint out of them. But I think it only enhances what Cheerwolf can do. He hasn't been in a fast run race yet, and you just saw how well he went last year when he got into a quick Epsom and a quick King Charles. It was a difference between him being around the mark in a Group 1 and winning 2 Group 1s. Oh, look, he's a... I've had a few horses like Marzu over the years, and they're the measuring stick for a lot of these other horses. They run pretty much to the same level every time, and that's better than what some of these can achieve on a consistent basis. So he loves Randwick, absolutely loves Randwick. If he was to get a track with a sting out of it, that would add a couple of lengths to his performance. But if he can run in the first 4 or 5, I'd be absolutely delighted.
I actually saw him yesterday morning at track work. I didn't ride him, but I walked off the track following him and had a good chat to his regular track work rider, who seems really happy with him. I know Joe's happy with him as well, so hoping he can defend his crown this year. Well, he won the race last year, so no problem at all. He's a horse who normally peaks this time of year. He's deep into his preparation now, and then that's normally when he hits the strap. So very pleased that Pride of Jenny's in the race to ensure a proper tempo. I believe we haven't seen the best of him this preparation due to slow pace, sit sprints. So it's going to be a proper race on Saturday, and I think that's when this horse delivers. Perfect draw, barrier 4. That just gives us options. He's been jumping a lot better and putting himself wherever he wants to be. So it's going to be a high pressure race, and from that draw we can just let the horse be wherever he wants. It's interesting. I think it's a good move. I did suggest it to the connections a couple of starts ago, and I think it'll assist the horse a lot.